Everybody, appreciate y'all being here. Coming off disappointing result there Saturday night or Friday night. Was it was one of those games that you can take 20 to 30 plays without throughout it, and anyone goes different. I mean, your final result is going to be obviously going to be changed, and it didn't change. It wouldn't have changed the overall areas of improvement and things that we're going to need to correct, because obviously there's some things that showed up that that is unacceptable to what we expect and out of ourselves, and how we want to play and how we want to finish in all regards. But I thought our guys did a good job of battling throughout some challenges, some adversity, things that showed up to put ourselves in a position where it came down to one play when we found ourselves behind. But there's a lot of areas of growth that need to happen. I've seen this team perform at a very high level, and I know what we're capable of, and have full expectations that's what we're going to see here this Saturday. And I have great appreciation for this group of guys, and obviously their desire, their want to, the way that they embrace the challenge personally, but also collectively as a group, and got big expectations for what we'll see here, moving forward. And but like I told them, we are where we are when it comes to 0-1 in conference, and that's the one opportunity we've had. But this week we have a great opportunity in one of the best rivalry games in all of sports, not just college football, but in all of sports. You'll hear it, the sold-out Doak Campbell Stadium, night game, prime time, wonderful stage to be able to show this team, who we are, what we're about, and the response that we're going to have. And got a great deal of respect for our players, and just their mindset, and coming back yesterday, and obviously the work, but we've got to go do it. And so looking forward to this week of preparation, looking forward to everything building up to Saturday, and just what this will the atmosphere, what it means to our university and this football program, and seeing our guys go and fight for it.
First question will be Brenda. I ask this understanding it's a broad term, but like physicality, were you pleased generally both sides of the ball with the level of physicality throughout the game?
No, I mean there was times that we showed up with intention, but we didn't necessarily always finish with the push of where we wanted. And I mean that was one of the things we challenged defensively. There's too many times that we're making contact and the ball was going the wrong direction for what we desire. And for us, I mean we've seen capability, and for what showed up on a consistent basis. Friday night, there was just too many of those plays, and so I think everybody gets to take ownership. I thought there were some plays on the perimeter. And we talked about this offensively, that the ball got out to the edge, and we have to be better. That I thought we had some touchdown opportunities there on some runs that got out. To whether front side, back side of a play. And I mean, we just got to make sure that we're sustaining and things that we've seen and complemented in the first 3 weeks that cost us on plays. And so I want better, expect better, and these players are going to demand better from themselves. And so that's one of the things that you come out of the game, and we want that to be unquestioned.
Kind of along those lines, the theme in the offseason about edge and desperation, playing with edge and desperation, and we saw it in the Alabama game. Is that how does a team have that throughout an entire season? Is it possible, and what do you do?
Absolutely possible, and I don't think that our guys, there's all different factors of what can can be distractions in moments or cause you to be a little bit hesitant. And, I thought there was some hesitation that showed up that, where we didn't, where there was maybe just a step behind, or when we got there, where you didn't have, all the pursuit and all the physicality and all the, the certainty and confidence of what, of executing in the moment. And there's, sometimes that can be, pick any different, circumstance that you find. That's what has to be, that's what we've got to be able to I say, block out, control, hone in on, because it takes 60 minutes of focus. And the other night it took 60 plus minutes of required focus to go do a job. And we faced some setbacks early. We had a couple turnovers. We had a couple penalties that hurt drives. So we find ourselves behind early in that game, and for everything that goes into it. I mean, you still, I thought the guys, they played with edge. They did play with desperation to put ourselves back in position. We made some plays, but consistently as a whole, there were times that we allowed whatever factor to slow our play in where it looked different. And but it wasn't from anything. From my belief of want to or desire, but it does come down to you have to be able to work through all those situations, because when you're on the road, I mean there's not a whole lot there supporting you, and so if something bad happens, it ramps up everything around you, and that's where you got to hone in that much more and trust your training, your keys, your fundamentals, all the things that you do throughout the course of the week, so that your full physicality, your full preparation gets to be put on display for what you're there to do.
Chris, when you got the takeaway with, I think it was 12 seconds remaining in the game, did you consider taking a shot and trying to give Jake a chance?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it was in thought process, but not. I mean, obviously, just when we were where we were, just felt good about, being able to go into overtime and as well. But I did think about it.
We'll go to Ira next, but he's going to wait for the microphone.
On the interception near the goal line, the 1st and 5, is that I know Tommy had a similar interception the week before. Is that deciding too quickly? Is that what's going on in those plays?
That's really that's one of those plays. Guy was blitzing off the edge. We felt good about an opportunity that was going to be out there on the perimeter. Guy jumped up. Tip pass. It's different than what was a week prior, but I mean, in a lot of ways. But that was one where a guy got his hand up on the ball, tip pass, interception. Got to give credit to that player. I think Tommy saw it how I would almost expect him to see it, but guy made a great play, and just being able to get the ball past him over through wherever. I mean, that's just that's an area we can continue to look at and try to get in best situation.
Coach, you've seen Carson Beck in person. You've seen him maybe mature through the years. You may have even recruited him back at Memphis. I can't recall, but just your impressions of Carson just through these years.
I mean, he's you see a quarterback that he's kind of been through it. I mean, he's played at obviously a really high level throughout his career. He's had his challenges and times that. Just what he's had to go through, and you could see that here in Miami, he's feeling very comfortable with what they're asking him to do, and what they've been able to accomplish here in the early part of the season. So, very accurate. He seems to know where he wants to go with the ball. Is getting the ball out quickly, and has some guys on the perimeter that are. Great supporting cast for what he's doing throughout leading that offense. But yeah, I mean he's got a really good game, and you can see the maturity that he has, and just what he does out there throughout the course of a game.
I can ask about two players. We saw Roydell Williams back on the depth chart. I guess where is he along in his process? And then Ashlyn Barker left the game on Friday. Is he going to be available?
Yeah, both those guys probably right now would be questionable going for early part of what we're looking at the week. I am excited about the progress I've seen from Roydell, excited about what that could potentially look like. But we'll see where as Ash comes through the weekend. I think we've had some positive steps in that, but we got to see where what that looks like ultimately here in the next couple of days.
Well, what kind of challenge in the trenches, both offensively and defensively, do you see against Miami, especially with a guy like Ruben Bain?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at both those position grouping, their O-line, their D-line, I mean, they're definitely a strength of their team, and they've done a good job. Guys are playing very confident. They've been tested and have rose to multiple challenges of what they've had to face. And Ruben is I think he's playing at an elite level. He can move all across the defensive front, but you see that his motor physicality, the productivity that he's had, here in the early part of the season. I mean, you could tell he had a really good offseason and just in his continued development. So, obviously that's going to be a great challenge for us, on both sides of the line of scrimmage. But, our guys are excited for what's in front of us, and we're excited for the opportunity. And, I think when you look at both of their line, offensive defensive line, I mean, they've played at a very, very high level. So it's going to take our best game, and for us just to continue to go and play better.
Coach, Tony White said that Jabril Rawls was one of the players that really stood out to him, that he played his tail off. Do you feel like that he took another step after his performance?
I do, and that was really a guy that we were, even going into the game, we're ready to. Kind of ready to feel him again. I mean, you felt it like early in the season in practice. I mean, he's got such a, great ability. I mean, he's got twitch. He'll throw his body around. Obviously, the Alabama game made a couple of good plays. Had the injury where he missed a game and just was kind of feeling himself back into that game setting, and it was really won a couple games that you just. All right, it's time to get back out there and go play. And I thought he was one of the guys that you felt coming out of that game. I threw his body around. Obviously had the interception, made some good plays in coverage. It wasn't a perfect game. Obviously had some areas, a couple missed tackles and things that we got to clean up. But I mean, it was still. I mean, that's what we expect out of Jabril, and I know what he expects out of himself. And so now it's about going and continuing to progress as the season unfolds.
There was a lot to feel good about after those first three games that you guys had. And, I think Tommy said after Friday night's game that he thought maybe some of the guys were feeling maybe too good about the way things were going. What are you going to be looking at this week, and what kind of buttons, I guess, do you want to push when it comes to having the guys in the right mindset?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that when you look at it, I mean, our mindset and our focus was on last week. Handling some of the things that of the situation. When you fall behind, it was the first real adversity that we had faced, where we had other than the opening touchdown drive against Alabama, but it was the first time that we had been behind. And you're seeing a talented team that that offense that we faced. I mean, they've done a good job. They've done a good job through the season. Obviously, some of the different things that they threw at us, and it's kind of going back to Ira's question, where it was just, there's a little bit of hesitation. And, when that shows up, man, we got to get back to, man, trust your eyes, trust your work, and then go cut it loose and let them feel it. And that's where, for us, I mean, the mindset, the buttons have been pressed. I can tell you, I mean, every person sitting on that had to sit on that plane Friday night after that game. Everybody's feeling a sort of way. But you can have your feelings, but, we're going to sit there and we're saying these are the things that absolutely have to get corrected. You get them done, and that or will not be good if I'm not seeing that progression for whatever individual it is. And so, because I believe in what these guys have done. I believe in the position they put themselves in, and I'm excited for them. And so nobody likes coming off of a loss. I mean, especially a game that we felt, in it, before it. I mean, even after, like, man, that game was there for us. But you know what? We earned that loss, and it sucks to say it. It sucks to have to go through it. But you know, now what do you do with it? And so, you know, there is a sense of urgency for our improvement, and you know, there's going to be plays. You know, come Saturday night, there'll be some plays that we don't win. Right? And you know how you deal with that and what you do in that moment. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. And you know, I want to see that response. I want to see that confidence, and I want to see guys go and you know cut it loose for 60 minutes.
Miami obviously put a lot of emphasis on the portal in their secondary, kind of overhauling that. What have you seen from that group, their defensive backfield?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was a big focus for them, you know, in the transfer portal, and you know, you see guys that have experience, guys that have played. You know, they've got a couple guys that have been on the roster that they have some familiarity with, but you know, just being able to see you know how they're tying it all together. I mean, it's you know their entire defense is playing very confident right now, and the things that they're being asked to do, you know, you can see them you know gelling together, you know, at a high level, and so you look at all three levels. It starts their defensive front. You know, you got athletic linebackers that run and hit, and then you know guys in the secondary that you are versatile in the things that they're being asked to do. Whether it's playing man coverage, zone coverage, you know, blitzing off, you know, blitzing at all different angles and from different positions. And so I mean, it's it will be a challenge, you know, for us here going in this week and just our overall preparation. And then you know you take that when you're playing against talented people, and you know, and then you got to go execute it and put yourself in the best position to achieve success. So I'm excited about the you know the work that's going to go into it, but you know it's a talented group on the defensive side.
Coach, you mentioned it briefly, but just what this rivalry means to the university, but also for you guys, just from a team point to wanting to win, but also from a recruiting standpoint as well.
No, I mean it's all levels. I mean this is you know it's one of those games. You know, you come to Florida State and you play in this rivalry, and it's something that's going to be remembered for the rest of your life. And you know, I mean, I vividly feel, I mean, all of it for every game that I've got the chance to be a part of. And it's, you know, I told the guys, you know, last night, I mean, it's a blessing to be here, to be able to be a part of this, and to know that you're going to get through the results of all things that you've done up to this point, what's going to be able to take place this week in our preparation, and then you know for those 3.5 hours come Saturday night, man, that's going to give you a lifetime to be able to remember and to be able to reflect upon. And you know I just want best, and you know it means you know for all levels of you know the program, of the you know the passion, the pride, the you know recruiting. You know it's something that you know you look towards, and so. You know, we know the weight of this week and you know opportunity of this week as well.
Going back to that desperation edge and button pushing, from a player standpoint, have you seen guys? We've heard about how Tommy's been in the locker room, Jerry's been in the locker room. Have you seen those same guys or maybe new faces holding each other accountable, pushing those buttons, and doing the same thing that you're talking about from a player standpoint?
Oh, I mean, absolutely, and you know it's. You know, it was there through the course of the game, and you know, in different moments. And once again, you know, you felt it. You felt it throughout the game to put us in a position. There was no pullback in it. Obviously, we didn't get the outcome that we desired, but you know, you saw and you say you feel the leadership that these guys have, and it's about the response, and it's about the things that we need to do, and I've seen that here, you know, through the course of the weekend, and you know, last night in practice, and you know, there's an expectation from our players for what we want it to be and what it needs to be for us, just for our best to show up, and so. You know, once again, you take the result, you take the experience, and you learn from it, and you grow, and you get better. And when you have players that are pushing that and holding each other to that standard, I mean, that's what I think is a necessity when you look at throughout the course of a season for a team to be able to overcome when those challenges present themselves.
Can you just illuminate the process of deciding, because you guys have so many playmakers on offense, and obviously you have 500 yards offense, so it's not like the offense struggled, but deciding like usage of like a Jalen Lucas or some of those guys? Like, how does that work out?
Yeah, and I mean, that's, there's some of those moments, you go into it, and I think Gus has done a great job in being able to put guys in wonderful positions, and there's certain times, feels, just things that you see as a play caller that you try to attack, and and there's times that you come out of it and you're like, well, we got to do this, we got to do that, and you make sure you continue to work and build upon it. But I mean, when you're it's going really well, and different guys have been very productive in certain games and maybe less productive in other games, and so it really is the ebb and flow of it. But everybody's got to be prepared for their moment, because you never know when the ball is going to come to you. You never know when that opportunity will present itself. But I mean, when it does, you got to make something happen. And so I think our guys, they see that big picture wise, and continuing to work to be ready when their number's called.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask you one question off camera?
No fine.